Please rise. Thank you. Commissioner.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Public comments? I just have one. Mr. Martinez?
About 4 weeks ago, met with Commissioner Benavides and County Judge on economic development, the need to expand in this area for our county, to work with all our entities, many of these services and others that are out there, and communities, to bring growth in an area that we are very behind, manufacturing and industry. Cameron County has its structure, and I'm not going to go over that template that I submitted within 3 days as requested. But recently, and bringing it back to your attention, I know you're doing some field work, but time is of essence. And you can see on the headlines of what I just gave you, Zapata County got an EDA grant, another county got $1 million to build critical business infrastructure and other business activity in another state. And there are resources out there for you to tap, to assist, or to grow. But you have to invest. You have invested a lot on infrastructure, a lot on bridges and concrete and pavement, et cetera, and that's great. But it's not just about infrastructure. But investing some time and initiative and coordination and unity of these communities and all of us together, working for economic development activities, especially manufacturing and industry. Recently, also, the United Brownsville, and I applaud them because they got a funding, not funding, but designation of SC2 from the White House initiative. The White House is doing, as you can see on the attachments, initiatives to bring distressed areas that want to turn around their economies, assistance. There will, on March 14th, there are deadlines coming up. Every quarter, et cetera. Every agency has deadlines. EDA, for example, has deadlines on March 14th for economic development programs or planning grants. Also, the national initiative of the White House to bring economic development and industrial and manufacturing to distressed areas of the nation. The deadline for designation under another one of their programs, the Attracting Manufacturing Investment to American Communities, is also March 14th. So while we're making an assessment of whether you invest or not into your county and all your partners, I know you do some right now, and you've been doing it by default. You're doing SpaceX project, but we need to be on top of things and provide these services and coordination between all these agencies. We cannot allow anymore in these trying times in our urban area, Brownsville, Harlingen, San Benito, the rest of the county areas, to wait and see if somebody helps us out as the LRGVDC or others. We must help ourselves. You have made very big investments. Now you must make investments in economic development and partner with all these people and help them and assist them to guide or bring in, be a conduit for them. The state legislature is always also coming in in January with the 84th legislature. And I know each one of you does some of that work, but it must be in a unified approach. One of the reasons I'm here is because one of those projects was a medical school. And I saw how.
You have 1
our
minute,
neighbor
Mr.
did that.
Martinez.
Yes. So I want to just ask you, please step it up. The deadlines of your budgets and your timelines don't necessarily reflect those of the federal government or the state government. You must act, because if we don't, our people are demanding jobs and opportunities. We're losing our children to other markets because we're not providing those opportunities here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Consent? I've been asked to table a couple of items, and I'm going to pull one item out for discussion now. I asked that we table item V regarding a vehicle purchase. Triple O to be tabled. Which one? Double E to pull out and discuss separately.
Double E?
Double E is in double Edward. I want to pull out item P and take that up with the action item, which is consideration to advertise for the animal shelter. Anything else?
Judge, Court, I'd like to table item L.
Anything else? All right. Do I hear a motion to approve consent with the exception of the items that I've asked to be tabled and those that we will pull out to discuss separately? By Commissioner Hernandez, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Let me take item P, consideration authorization to advertise for the RFQs for the architectural services for the animal shelter. And coupled with that, I'd also like to go ahead and discuss item M on the action item, discussion and possible action regarding the county animal shelter. And the reason I'm taking these both up is because the action item really is going to be contingent on the architectural contract that we want to do. Just in summary, real quick on the action item, as I see it, we have three options. One option is to rebuild at the existing location, renovate the existing location, or build something at a new location. Those are the three options that we have. No, I didn't say double E. No, I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Double M is the action item on the animal shelter. Okay, and those are the three options, and the first item is on the consent, which is to hire or go out for a request for qualifications for an architect to come back to us and give us an expert opinion. And I think that's where we need to go. I don't believe that there's any dispute in the fact that we need a new facility. There's no dispute there. The only dispute right now, if any, is number one, the amount of the investment we're going to make and where it's to be built or renovated. So I think that at this point, Yvette, make the presentation about the architectural services, and then I think we have to kind of defer what we're going to do until we get that back from an expert to let us know what is viable and feasible to do, rebuild, renovate, or build in a new location. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. Yvette.
Okay. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm Yvette Salinas with the Department of Health and Human Services, which oversees the Environmental Health Program, which Gustavo Olivares is the director of that program of the animal shelter. I was kind of waiting for it to go up on the screen, our presentation. I don't know if there's something that we need to do here on our end. I mean, we can proceed without the presentation being on the screen, but
Just show it like that to everybody.
Okay. Okay, so we're going
Where's
to go ahead and
Andy?
get started with our presentation then. Oh, okay.
Is that on our screen?
So I'm going to let Gustavo Olivares make this presentation.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity and the time. I'm just going to go briefly. I know we have a couple of slides, and I'm just going to kind of go briefly through them too. So I know the judge, we're trying to get to it as soon as get a little quicker on it, but here we go. As you can see, the history of this animal shelter being in Commissioner's Court was first when the original animal shelter was built back in 1990 to, it's been February 16 of 2012, February 2012, April 2012, and also in September, and also in April of 2013. Just going to give you an update based on last Commissioner's Court. We met with a couple of individuals, important individuals within Cameron County. Our meeting included the primary planning process for essential shelter needs. Basically, we grouped together and we said, okay, what is it that we need to put together for our shelter in the near future? The plans included utilizing the current salvage building infrastructure for expansion in order to save on construction costs. So basically, we discussed a little bit of, okay, can we use the existing shelter? What can we use? What can we not use to try to save some money for the court? We also discussed that we need to go out for a contract for architect and engineer for the building design, so we could really have something to where we could work with and present to the court. Once the design is developed, the maintenance director will be able to determine a M&O budget projection, because at this time it's kind of unsure exactly what we're doing. The participation was County Administrator's Office, Health Department, Engineering, Building and Maintenance, and ROFA and CAS.
You might want to explain what ROFA is and CAS.
Well, ROFA is just an actual engineer firm.
That's the name of an engineering company?
That is an actual contractor's company that ROF.
The same thing with CAS?
Yes, CAS, yes, sir. As you can see, this is our existing shelter, and you guys have seen these pictures before. Basically, it's just showing an overview of what we have at this time. And this is actually the design of what we do have in place. We have a total of 10 kennels, 5 general population, and 3 quarantines, and 5 quarantines, but we use 2 of them when not needed for more of an adoption process. Our current shelter sits on 0.77 acres. Its square footage is 2,079 square feet. We got a total of 10 kennels. The building cost, based on Commissioner's Court minutes, December 17, 1990, was about $48,000 when it was first built. In building and maintenance and operations for 2011, it was $2,468. 2012 was $2,400. FY 13 was $3,934. Incinerator and maintenance of operation, basically in 2011 was $9,415. For 2012 was $9,088. For 2013 was $7,757.
Gus, just real quick, where is the personnel cost on those figures?
The personnel cost is not included in these figures.
Okay. See, so when you see that, it gives the appearance that we're not spending anything to operate this thing, but where are the personnel costs on this?
The personnel costs are annually roughly about $200,000.
Okay, right. That should be in here, okay? Because, you know, this gives a not a very clear picture as to what the operating costs of the animal shelter are. So to that number, you had about 200,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Let me ask a question. When you
Yes.
say 200,000, is that strictly to run the shelter? Is that for the entire operation of picking up animals and doing whatever these people do when they're not in the trucks looking for stray animals?
It's strictly, the animal control program that we have in place do both jobs.
This includes livestock and everything, correct?
Where we handle the majority of the part is dogs and cats. And it does include the people that we do have out in the field and that assist throughout the shelter activity also.
Okay, so it's the entire operation of animal control.
Correct.
All right.
If you look at this kind of overview of the proposed animal shelter area where we have, you can see you have vehicle maintenance and the public works department also. Uh, The actual, if you look at the dark blue is the current area of the property. If you look at the one highlighted in red, is a proposed animal shelter property that we believe we need to build or remodel the existing shelter and expand. There's an orange one, which is the private property, and there's another yellow one that's also adjacent to it. It's also like kind of private. Basically, on the sewer system, we have two options. One option will be putting in a brand-new septic system for the current and the new facility. Option B would also be the city of San Benito does provide sewer services in the area, but they're recommending to connect to a lift station located behind the county fairgrounds, approximately about 2 miles from the animal shelter. We did have a conference call with personnel from the city, and it is feasible to run an actual sewer line with a mini lift station at our facility. And if we would ever do this, I would recommend to include everyone else in that precinct to benefit from this project. And it is feasible. It's something that a line that could be just for the county itself, not for the neighboring community. So it would be more of a pressure line, which would be pumped to this lift station. And based on their discussion, they would be able to handle this type of usage from Cameron County.
Gus, I have another question.
Yes.
This particular sewer that you're talking about right now, on this particular piece of property, you have the animal shelter, you have vehicle maintenance, and the county barn, or I should say a precinct maintenance, a barn there. You have 3 different facilities there, correct?
That's correct.
And they all share the same septic system that we know doesn't work?
Well, the shelter has their own, and vehicle maintenance has their own, and I believe the Public Works Department also has a separate. So we have basically about 3 systems in this facility that within this whole work.
Is it not true we've had an ongoing problem when we have a lot of rains with sewer backing up and actually being at ground level?
Commissioner, basically the answer is there is trouble when we have heavy rains. Because the septic systems work through evaporation and absorption. So it does create issues when we have some rain.
So the ground area that we have now is not sufficient for the sewer system we have? For absorption purposes?
Right. The soil classification that we have in that area is not the best soil conditions for this type of systems. There are other type of systems that can be available to do something different. But yes, I mean, to me, the best route, if we do have a choice, would be to try to find a way, once we get an architect or someone on board, to give us a cost estimate what it would cost to run it to the actual San Benito lift station.
My point is, regardless of what we do, we have a health issue right now that we need to correct as far as the raw sewage, being taken away from the facilities and not coming back up on the surface. And people I know for a fact, because I've talked to some of the men from the vehicle maintenance facility, and sometimes there's actual raw sewage on the ground when it rains a lot. And we have to stop, we shouldn't have ever allowed that to begin with. And here's a chance to correct it. That's my only point.
Yes, sir. Regardless of what we do with the new shelter, we need to look into.
Gus, when you spoke to the San Benito people, did they give you any type of idea of how much it would cost to set up a mini lift station?
I asked him if it was going to cost us $100,000, and he said no, that's too high. So
About 50.
I figured about between $40,000 to $70,000 we're looking at for something like that, and that's just something
rough
that
estimate.
yeah, it's not something on stone.
Got to keep in mind that, and I agree with Commissioner about fixing a problem, but that problem is really not unique to the shelter. I mean, I think anytime anybody lives in the rural areas, it's probably been there for 20 some odd years, their septic tank system may not be adequate. When it does rain, it floods, and these low-lying areas, it's not abnormal for sewer to be backing up anywhere. So I think that if we have an opportunity to tap in and do this, I think that may be the way to go. But don't want to make it sound like that's the only septic system in Cameron County that this happens to, because it happens frequently in the rural areas and those that don't have access to water and wastewater, or wastewater.
Judge, that's correct. We do deal with a lot of overflowing in Cameron County when we have these heavy rains. We do have issues throughout the.
Now, when you're talking a direct line, that means that, that no one from point A to point B, B being us, would have the opportunity to tap into that system?
That is correct, because it's a pressure line, it's not a gravity line.
Okay, all right.
If you look at the proposed map that we have here, you look at the arrow where we're at, and the X where the lift station is at. It's basically where the livestock grounds for the San Benito are at. So we project, it's not something that is on stone, we project it's about close to 2 miles, a mile and some, from that distance from there to here. And these are some of our animal shelter needs that we put together this past week. There's basically a total of 5 components. And I'm really not going to go into every individual one unless one of the court members asks any questions on it. But basically the components are administration, that's component 1, impoundment and shelter area. And if you look at the second slide, the adoption area, that's another component. And the exterior area, that's another component. And basically the last one is like a want. Basically, if we have the facility and would like to see if we could have an open area just for in case of an emergency situations during a disaster, have a room available with just plumbing to where we could at least put animals in some type of kennels and stuff to alleviate the community, and that's just basically a want for emergency situations.
Gus, let me ask just a couple of things. One, the next time you make a presentation, just at least for my benefit, can you make the fonts a little bit larger? so I can see it. I mean, even my glasses, I can't see the darn thing. You make it a little bit larger, even if you have to incorporate a few more pages.
Okay. Yeah, normally we try to keep it.
Like 12.
Well, that probably is a 12. I think I need like about a 25.
It's actually an 11, but we actually, what we try to do is try not to have so many slides.
I understand.
But we'll be glad to do that.
Well, I think not only for us, but also for the audience that may not be able. I know that they've got perfect eyesight up front, but I don't, so.
I can't read it.
Now, the other thing, as we move forward with the RFQ, what is it, they are going, I'm assuming this, because normally that's the way architects work, we have to provide information to them, then they kind of, do what they need to do. What I'd like to see is that you give them different scenarios, so we come up with 2 or 3 different plans, not so much on the locations, because, I mean, are we going to have, right now we have 10 kennels. Are you going to propose that we have 14, 24? I want somebody to tell us, look, for a county that's comparable to our county with the facilities that are available in some of the municipalities, what is it that we need? Right. Is it, and I think that's what we need the experts to tell us, because we really don't have any idea.
No, and that's correct. Once we get somebody on board, we'll sit down and break it out into basically 3 plans. I think that's okay. The way to go, right. Where you would go the biggest to the medium to where, and basically anything better than what we have at this time. So we break it up into 3 sections.
This shelter is 24, 25 years old. And when you hear about how much our county has grown over the last, 2.5 decades, this shelter has not grown commensurate with our population growth. So it's something that we need to plan out, even if we somehow, whether it's this location or somewhere else, almost like we do with the jail. You build it out in such a way where you can add pods depending on the population. We may want to, as you visit with these people, let them know, look, we want something that's going to last us for 25 years, and then give us the opportunity to add on as our population continues to grow.
Right.
So we need to make sure that we have a piece of property that we're not landlocked or constricted to where we cannot grow anymore, regardless of what we do. So keep that in mind as well.
We'll do that.
That's correct. But we need to ask them that. If we don't ask them, they're not going to tell us. Okay?
We will make sure we include that. And I mean, we're still, the county itself, right at that point, is basically sitting on like close to 7 acres at this point there at the precinct warehouse. We're only utilizing, we're asking to use about maybe about 1 and something on it. So it's up to the court if we want to continue to grow in that facility or in that area or move somewhere else. But we will really consider that. And this really kind of is just in place just to give you an idea of something that we're planning to try to, basically we do incinerations and there's also a dumpster service, other way of disposing of animals. If you look at a projection, and I'm just gonna go to the 10-year plan. In 10 years, using an incinerator, we would be using about $227,000 for the 10-year period. If we go more or less of a freezer with a dumpster like the city of Brownsville and a lot of the municipalities have, you'll be using about $204,000 and a little bit over $204,000 for 10 years projected expense. And you avoid any type of situations with the incinerator. You have an actual contract with an actual company that picks up the animals, and so our job would be basically just to house them temporarily until we dispose of them. And this is another slide
that would eliminate some of the complaints that we get out there.
That's exactly right, and that's my thing, that if we are going to plan to build something, that should be part of our planning and the way to go to avoid any complaints from the neighborhood and also from our people at our warehouse that work there, 8-10 hours a day. This slide is basically just to give you an idea of what Hidalgo County pays the Humane Society. And I don't know if these numbers are exact, so don't quote me on them, but it's kind of around there. Basically, they pay the Humane Society $600,000, and excuse for the typo on the 600,000. Basically, 400,000 are for the animal services, 200,000 are for the spade and neuter program, and that's in Hidalgo County.
And that's excluding the costs of Hidalgo County actually does pick up the dogs and cats, but they drop them off at Palm Valley. And so the animal shelter service is really done by Palm Valley, and so that's what Hidalgo County and the city of Harlingen pay out for those type of services. Cameron County is unique in the sense that they do everything from pickup to shelter the dogs and cats to the euthanization. So you won't see that in Hidalgo County or the city of Harlingen, and I don't know anybody else that does it to the extent that Cameron does. But it really is the most cost-effective way that we've been functioning.
If you look at the city of Harlingen pays the Humane Society $128,000 a year, plus they got to provide the facility, the maintenance of the facility, and all the utilities and expenses. And like Ms. Salinas did say, I mean, I think Cameron County is unique in the animal control program, because if you look at all the other municipalities and counties, they have a separate animal control program to do the picking up and do the presentations in the community, and then they have personnel at the shelter. So that's another thing that we got to look at when we decide to build a shelter that is going to require personnel, administrative-wise, and also personnel to help maintain and clean the facility. Any questions?
What programs do we have available right now at the shelter for adoption, for showing animals that have been picked up? I know they become the ward of the county after 3 days, after the dogs have been in your possession for 3 days. What happens at that point? Do we make any attempt to notify? Do we have a place to show these animals? Do we have people volunteering to help with the adoption process?
Commissioner, the lack of our space in our facility kind of cripples us a little bit to where we cannot do these type of activities at a routine basis. We try to do our best on the adoption process, but the amount of population that we receive, it takes up those kennels that we could use for adoption. So we try to do as much with what we have to try to implement some of these programs in place.
The reason I say my biggest concern is there were some comments made a couple of weeks ago that, well, we don't have adoption available. We don't try to find a way to dispose these animals to other people that want puppies or people that want a grown pet for their ranch or their yard. And I think the reason is we don't have the facility available, a facility conducive to have those kind of programs available. And that's why I think it's very important we look real seriously at changing the way we do business as far as our animal shelter is concerned and build a new shelter. We spend millions of dollars on parks and stuff that bring us zero income. And I know maybe $1.5 million may sound like a lot of money, but in the overall scheme of things, it's not a lot to spend for a health issue that is long overdue in Cameron County.
Commissioner, and Judge and Commissioners, this facility, when it was built as a rabies control facility. It was not intended to do the animal adoption program, and times have changed, and so though they try to make efforts to have an animal adoption program, they're very limited in what they can do because of the type of design of the facility that we have. They have partnered with some of the, I guess, some of the organizations, the animal rescue, and so every once in a while, we're grateful that they come in and they take a look at what we currently have in pets. It doesn't happen very often because everyone really is strapped. It's a problem. It's a problem to have a lot of dogs and cats out there roaming, and so everyone's doing the best they can with the adoption program, but everybody struggles, including us, and so it is extremely limited because the facility is designed as a secure facility for, rabies quarantine. It wasn't designed to let the general public in.
It was a health issue back then, yes it was, and now I think it still is a health issue with the sewer issue we talked about, which hopefully we can remedy pretty quickly. But do you support a new shelter? Do you support the idea of having these programs and making these animals available, or should we continue to kill everything that we pick up?
Commissioner,
It's kind of a tough question.
no, to tell you the truth, I'm 100% behind this, and it's the best for the county, and I'm 100% for it. I mean, I started working in animal control 16 years ago, and I started in that shelter, so I know the needs and I know what we're moving forward with these years I've been through there. So, do I believe that if I support this 100%?
And I do believe that we try to meet with animal control, and I believe that we've done the best that we can with the funding that we have as far as fixing it up, maintaining it, trying to train our animal control officers to make sure that they're sensitive to our animal population. It's a very, very difficult job for our animal control officers to conduct, but I do believe that everybody's been trying to work together to make the best of this rabies control facility.
I think that when we consider and convey to whatever consultant we hire for services, that we look, there's many ways to build a building. I know that we were in a meeting in FAR the other day and drove down the expressway, and we were visiting, and David Garcia and I were driving to TxDOT or somewhere, and there's areas, and one of the areas that we went by was an area which houses a large number of offices, restaurants, storage buildings, different things on the left side of the expressway right before the Hidalgo County line. It's a lot of green buildings. And on the way back, we started looking at some of these facilities. And, I think I would favor, I support a shelter, but I don't want to build a Taj Mahal, I want to build a shelter that is fiscally responsible to the community in regards to costs. And I think that we should look at facilities that incorporate the Mueller building or the Royal building, a metal building type structure, where you go to these guys and you give them a plan, and they have engineers in place, structural engineers, where they will come up, after an engineer gives them a design with a plan that's engineered to do what we want with the potential growth in the future. But it's not a very expensive structure. When I see and I know that a lot of the expense is going to be like plumbing and electrical and things of that nature. But I think you can do a lot with not so much money. We keep talking about millions of dollars. We keep talking about a septic issue that occurs probably in 80% of my precinct every time it rains. It doesn't matter if it's Laureles, it doesn't matter if it's Green Valley, it doesn't matter which low-lying area of the precinct gets the rain. The health issue, Judge, as you brought up, is out there. anytime you have a septic system, Gus, how many times have we responded to that little church where they complain about the neighbor because the neighbor's septic goes over and it goes through the church side? I mean, these are ongoing issues that until we have a comprehensive septic system or sewer service system countywide, we're not gonna get rid of totally, regardless of how much we invest, unless we connect that direct line with a grinder pump to the San Benito lift station. That would be one way. But, you know, the problem with septic systems is not gonna go away. Those issues are duplicated all over this county, and I'm sure Precinct 4, I'm sure Precinct 1 and 2 have those issues in low-lying areas, you know. So we don't need to be, I don't want to be blinded by that issue. I had an office at that location for about 8 years. And yes, you know, the septic systems did work slower when it rained, but you know, you learn to live with those things. You know, you learn to I mean, I don't think that I ever saw raw sewage floating anywhere around that area. And the building that I was in for 8 years was a low-lying building with the same problem, you know. So let's not exaggerate the issue. You know, there's space available there to enlarge that septic system if we wanted to. We haven't utilized it. There's a huge area right in the front of the shelter that is like a storage yard for who knows what. You know, I mean, all of that stuff really needs to be gotten rid of. You know, it used to be used by the DA's office for storage. Years ago, they moved their storage facility to private individuals, and you know, it wasn't utilized anymore. The county at one point was making money on a monthly basis from the storage of vehicles on that lot. That transferred to private individuals years ago. You know, we're not using it anymore. So there's space available there for enlarging that facility in a responsible manner and in a fiscally conservative manner. And you know, that's all that I would ask that would be incorporated into the process.
And Commissioner, I forgot to mention Hondo. Where's Mr. Hondo? Here. He really helped us out this past week. He did come up with some of those ideas also, being more of a commercial section warehouse with the needs that we need. And it might save us money in the long run, and maybe the shelter facility have some type of garage doors to come down during the winter time with propane heaters, and during the summertime with fans and open up the car garages to help the ventilation. And we will be within the state guidelines to do that. So we will be looking at all those options to try to save the county some funding. And I think Mr. Hondo is a great part of helping us create that, put that together. So
I would just want to make sure those ideas are incorporated into the process.
Yes,
and also a plan with the M&O. I mean, if we're going to double the M&O, that money has to come from somewhere. And there's needs all over the county in many different areas. And I want to make sure that we don't go and build something that we can't afford to fund to operate, because that makes sense.
And like I mentioned earlier, I mean, the judge wants we want to put a couple of plans together. And I think it's a good plan to go with, because you could save those plans for future development, for future, 10 years from now, or whenever we choose to build it bigger. So if we build something, as long as we build something, I think we're going the right direction, and it's a big improvement.
There's no doubt, Commissioner, we can save a lot of money in a metal building. Today, churches are being built with metal buildings. They put a facade on them. You don't know it's metal. It's all steel beamed inside, and it's actually much cheaper. You're correct. I'd rather see the money put on the inside and the shelter have what it needs to operate properly, like a rural shelter, like the Brownsville shelter, and then have a metal building. Instead, we'd save a ton of money. Brick and mortar is very expensive. So Hondo, I appreciate that idea. I talked to him the other day about that. It's a great idea. I'm not concerned so much about the outside as I am about the actual facility on the inside, and having the proper number of facilities available for the animals, the intake, the outtake, separation of the everything it takes to have a full-fledged, well-working animal shelter. And hopefully have people there that will hopefully get some volunteers. I see we have some people in the audience that know what's happening in Brownsville. We've had a big push at the Brownsville shelter to make it very, very, it's a very unique. When that was built, we used to have what they called a dog pound across Military Highway. I grew up right next to it all my life. And I remember what it was like. And my name's on the shelter in Brownsville. That's why I'm very pro this particular issue. We did this, and it's become a real showcase for Brownsville. It's made a big difference. I think the adoption process has grown. There was no adoption process 10 or 12 years ago at all. Now there is. So I truly believe that on a county-wide basis, we can do the same thing and hope and do it in a frugal manner, commissioners. You know, we'll spend what we need to spend. I'm not saying spend, you know, an exorbitant amount of money, but we need to do something with what we better than what we have now.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gus. All right, well, you have the, I think the direction. Let me ask for a motion then to authorize to advertise for the RFQs for the architectural services for the animal shelter. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
By Commissioner Hernandez, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Let me just say this. I want you all really intricately involved in this because they're only going to put together what we convey to them that we're looking for, and maybe get with Hondo and anybody else that you believe, somebody from the, you know, from the general public that's involved in pet adoption, and seek their knowledge out, because it might be something that we will forget. So we'll try to come up with a comprehensive plan for that, okay?
Okay. Yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. If we can go to item M, discussion and possible action regarding the animal shelter. We've already done that. Or do I hear a motion just to acknowledge the discussion? By Commissioner Gatsa. I have a second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries.
Can you go to item N, please, which is the same thing? No, N. The advisory committee, the item N,
Oh, that's on the action?
on the action, please.
Okay, hold on.
Against, since you're here.
Calm down, guy. Make sure we got everything. If I don't do it right, Sylvia will come and scream in my ear here. Yeah, item N, consideration authorization. Guys, Gus or Yvette, I think, is this item y'all's? I think it's yours, Yvette. Consideration authorization to appoint members to the Cameron County Animal Shelter Advisory Committee. Remember, you were going to go back to the folks that were involved in the original advisory committee, reaching out to them, and then you were going to add some folks.
Yes, Judge.
Do you have the names of the people that you're recommending at this point?
Yes, I believe as part of your agenda, the top part, on the left-hand side, it talks about the positions that are mandated by the law, and it's a veterinarian, a county or a municipal official, an individual. The third one is an individual who has daily operations of an animal shelter, and the fourth one is somebody from an animal welfare organization.
Or those are the four that are mandated?
Those are the four categories that are mandated.
Have those been filled?
We have recommendations. There's only one member from the past who meets that criteria currently. So our recommendation is to keep that one individual because that one individual wants to continue to participate.
But have you contacted the other ones? Are they willing to participate?
The five that you have listed on the top part, yes,
Okay, and they're willing to participate?
yes. Actually, Gus, if you want to call out
Is
their
there somebody
names.
missing?
No.
Or you've got a complete list of the folks that you're going to recommend, correct? And they're all willing to put in the time and the effort to do this?
That is correct. And we also, basically, we have 2 veterinarians that will be volunteering their time. So it's required to have 1, but 2 of them will be volunteering their time. Basically, it will be Mr. John G. Montalbano as one of the veterinarians. As the other veterinarian was an existing member, which was Robert Kellogg. And a county or municipal official will be Mr. Hernandez, Ernie Hernandez. Duties included, someone that does duties include daily operations of an animal shelter is Robert DePaul, Brownsville Animal Supervisor. And an animal welfare organization is Mr. Edgar Trevino from Brownsville Spay and Neuter Executive Officer. So we will meet the criteria if we appoint.
All right, and the other ones, were there some others?
No,
Those are the 5,
yes.
okay. Do y'all want to add more members, or are you okay with that?
We're getting some no's from the audience. Can we ask? Do you have a spokesman? Okay.
If you'd like, could you please come forward and introduce yourself for the record, please?
I'm Becky Haley. I'm the founder and organizer of the Coalition for Animal Advocates in Cameron County. It's been in existence now for 2 years. I've also been working with the city, and as of December, the Animal Advisory Board in Brownsville has agreed to, within 5 years, to be absolutely no kill. I'm hoping the county will also take that journey. I would suggest that you name an individual to the Animal Advisory Board that is not associated necessarily with Brownsville. Mr. DePong is very educated and I think would do a very good job. Mr. Davino, I feel, would have biased opinions. He is the owner-operator of the Brownsville Spay-Neuter Clinic. I feel that a person that is actually involved in rescue and adoption should be appointed to this board, if not two.
Let me ask, let me go back to what I asked. Can we add more people to this committee? We can, correct?
That is correct.
There's no limit. So why don't we,
There's basically no limit, but you got to remember you also got to meet a quorum, and the more people you
yeah,
add,
I mean, I don't want to have, it's hard when you appoint a whole bunch of folks. I mean, but I think we got 5. If we might raise it to 9, and then let me suggest this. Why don't you get with Ms. Haley and or anybody else that wants to participate, and provide some names that can sit on this board? 'Cause like I said, they're going to have some thoughts that we just don't think about, and I think that's why it's important to get them involved and to participate. So after the meeting, once you get some contact information from them, and then visit with them and see who they would like to recommend. We got, if it's okay with you all, to increase it to 9 from 5? Is that all right?
That's fine with me.
Is that all right? Okay?
I approve.
Okay, thank you. Let's do that, but for now, can I have a motion to approve these members and also bring it back to us to let us know, which 3 or 4 people that you're going to be able to get to volunteer?
So move.
Can we do that? Okay, let me get a motion to approve the existing members recommended. Moved by Commissioner Sanchez, second by Commissioner Garza. And then coupled with that also to reach out to the people that are here that expressed an interest, and come back at the next meeting maybe with 4 names if you can meet them, but reach out to other members of the community as well. Okay. Is that part of your motion as well, Commissioner?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Discussion, please. Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing that we'd like to be able to put these other members, whoever you all decide, by the next meeting, so we can start to have meetings, and the issue of quorum, which should not be an issue. It's an ad hoc committee, so there may be times when maybe only 4 people show up, and we don't have to have an actual quorum to have a meeting. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know. That's,
I mean,
we are required to have a quorum.
you are required to have a quorum?
We are required.
so you need 5.
So you have to have, give me 4 active members. That way we always have at least 5 people show up, so we can have an official meeting.
All right, okay. Anything else?
We'll go ahead and bring that to the next meeting.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And that was item
And,
N as part of the action.
thank you, sir.
Item double E. Thank you all. Consideration and authorization to advertise for requests for qualifications for the master plan consulting services, Isla Blanca Park.
Mr. Mendez, why did we not include the whole park county, the island park system in this master plan?
I mean, we could include Andy Bowie.
It's an integrated park system. Some of the activities, some of the facilities, some of the lease spaces type issues are also, I think that yesterday we attended a meeting, for example, on that coastal task force. And it seems that everything works better when you plan in a regional way versus an isolated way. And usually the cost is not incrementally that much more to do that. So I would like to incorporate, if there is no objections from your department, that when we look at this master plan for the island, for the Isla Blanca, that we include all of the island in the master plan.
Okay.
And get some ideas as to what we need to do, what we can incorporate, how things can be utilized at both ends of the island as far as the park system is concerned. I mean, we have a lot of programs that you know, we just like beach patrol or park rangers, you know, they exist at both ends. you
Sure,
know.
we can add those southern ones.
I don't know about the rest of the commissioners, where they're at
That's a
on
good
that.
deal, that's a good deal.
Okay, that's great.
I agree.
Yeah.
Also, maybe that parking that we're talking about out there,
Yes.
that's really important, that we get, that in the master plan, because we did have a couple kids run over last year on the beach, and although we can't avoid every situation, but if we can at least provide that parking so that families have the option not to drive down the beach and have access, then I think, that's a really positive thing that we can get done.
Okay.
Do we need to, as far as this particular RFQ, do we need to go back and bring it back? Or can we just say, instead of Isla Blanca, say South Padre Island County Parks? Where's Forbes on this? It could be, that way we don't have to waste time in, okay? I mean, I would like to move that we do this RFP for the South Padre Island, Cameron County Parks. Wherever it says Isla Blanca, to substitute just Cameron County Parks.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. I will go back to items for discussion and action. Budget amendments, line item transfers, and/or salary schedules.
Good morning, Judge Pro Tem, Judge, Commissioners. You had the budget amendments placed in front of you. The first one is one for the district clerks. They are realizing a $6,000 donation that they received from I believe the Texas Bar Association for their data processing, their preservation of records. So they're putting that in a budget amendment so they can use it. You also have line item transfers for records management, the county clerk judicial, the district courts, the auditor's office, constable precinct 2, the sheriff's office, public works, planning and inspection, health department grant, the HIDA grants, the victim of crime assistance program, the park rangers, and the beach safety program. Those are your line item transfers. You also have the salary schedules for the juvenile department. They are budget neutral. And you have the salary schedule for the parks department as well, attached for your approval.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatz. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed, carries. Claims.
Claims are warrants number 315474 through 315879, 315881 through 315923, 315925 through 316005, warrant number 316008, and warrant number 316013 through 316145. Payroll dated February the 14th for $1,742,538.94. Healthcare claims for $995,549.24. Check number 307232 for $300, which is being voided. It was lost and has been replaced. I'd also like to call out the court's attention to warrant number 315815. That is a loan for $500,000 that is being done to the health insurance fund. The health insurance fund is running very low on funds right now. We have had a large amount of claims, and we need to loan it some money so it can meet its obligations. Normally, the amount that gets deposited into the health insurance fund for every payroll is approximately $385,000. With this claim being processed for $995,000, and the payroll deposit that will be going in today, or rather tomorrow, for $386,000, that will give us an approximate balance of about $450,000 that we hope will be sufficient to fund the claims that will come in during this week. We do have one particular claim that is pending on the stop-loss insurance. However, that will not get processed until sometime in March because it came in February, so the insurance will pick it up and report and process the reimbursement to us in March. So it is hopeful that we will be able to, that it should not need any more loans. And also, warrant number 315968, that is the payment to staff care. And in that one, we are processing the $30,000 payment on the contract, the contract obligation that the county had, since now the county has contracted independently and on a professional services agreement for a pathologist. So that $30,000 is being processed to staff care, and it's my understanding that was approved in executive session by the court.
It was approved in open session, not executive session.
Okay.
Might have been discussed in executive
Okay.
session, but it was approved in open session.
We don't
Correction.
approve anything in executive session that I know of.
Correction.
I concur.
So I just wanted to call the court's attention since we did not have the minutes on that, but it has been approved. And
We
it is-
didn't have minutes on that?
We did not request the minutes from the minutes, and I verified with Civil and was told that it had been approved. So we had Civil's signature on the $30,000 claim for payment.
Okay. And go back, and if we didn't actually approve it, bring that back, because that was the transition that's going to save us thousands of dollars, and that was the purpose of doing that.
That is correct.
It might have been one of those that we moved to proceed as discussed in executive session and might have not included, the payment of the 30.
The actual wording of
Yeah,
that, yes.
Right.
Mhm, yes,
So,
correct. For your approval.
Anything further?
Move
Do I-
to approve.
Moved by,
I have one more thing that I'd like to bring up to the court's attention. The financing agreement for the equipment purchases, we are currently working with Bank of America Leasing to get that finalized. That was awarded to Bank of America Leasing last year. However, and it did come to court for approval, and the court did approve the leasing agreement, subject to a couple of changes that needed to be done. And for some reason, the leasing agreement, the master one, never got back to Bank of America Leasing. So we are currently pending the final agreement from Bank of America. Once we get it, then we'll present it to the judge and have him sign it, since the court has already approved it, and then we can proceed with the equipment purchases.
anything else, Martha?
I think that's it.
Okay, you always do that to us, okay? I have a motion by Commissioner Benavides. Do I have a second?
second.
By Commissioner Gatsa. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Minutes, December the 19th, 23rd, January 2nd, January 15th. Are those ready to be approved?
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Hernandez to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item D, consideration authorization to execute fixed-space operator agreement between Cameron County and Hunt Pan Am.
Yes, sir, Commissioner. Judge and Commissioners, we made the changes that were recommended in executive session the last time we met. The
Legal signed off?
Legal signed off.
We're
on.
good? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
By
Second.
Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Thank you, Joe.
Judge,
Item E, yes.
on the next one, can we hold off on that one until after executive session?
On item E, okay.
Yes.
Item F, discussion regarding the process by which the Democratic Party and the Republican Party may nominate a candidate for the 2014 general election for the office of Constable Precinct 3. Is Chris Davis here?
No, but Judge, you asked me to put this on.
Okay, you want to
and
go
I
just
can-
explain
I'd
to
like
the
do it
audience
for you.
what we need to do?
Real quickly, the law allows for the parties to fill the vacancy, for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party to fill the vacancy. And they do that by having a majority of the committee's membership
the precinct
somebody.
chairs.
Basically, the precinct chairs. A quorum of those precinct chairs can nominate a candidate to be put on for the general election, which would be in November. If the parties don't do it, the state Democratic and Republican parties, they could nominate somebody. They don't have to, but they could. And that's basically.
And this would be for the November election.
This year.
So similar things happened in '88 when Tony Garza was nominated by the Republicans and Ray Ramon was nominated by the Democrat Party to run in that election because of former Judge Jack Goolsbee passed away during that same time. So this is something, I mean, it's identical. Someone passed away, and there's time to put on the general election. So now, do we have to wait for them to come up with something?
If they do it, there's a process. I mean, they have to certify their nominated, their nomination. And, you know, there's a process, and I think they have till like June, or maybe June is when they could actually start to nominate that person. But if the parties don't do it, you know, I think there's an agenda item later on in the meeting where y'all are going to discuss how you want to appoint somebody to fill the vacancy.
Well, we would appoint somebody, let's assume for a moment that the local parties recommend somebody that'd be on the November ballot. We would appoint somebody today or next time to fill the position till the end of the calendar year. And then there's an election right before that, which would be the November election, the general election. And then whomever wins that one then takes over January 1st.
They could take over January 1st.
Now, let me ask a question. What if neither the local or the state party recommend anybody? That means that we would have to come back.
No, the person that you've appointed would fill the vacancy until the next general election.
That's correct.
If for some reason the parties don't nominate somebody this summer, then that person that the court has appointed would serve until the next general election, which would, I think would be 2016.
That's correct. Okay, got it. All right, any discussion on that particular item, on item F?
I have a question. Dobia, so the nomination can be at any point after the person passes away. It doesn't have to be for their term of election after they've been, let's say they win the primary, but it comes to the general and we haven't had the general election yet.
There's a little bit of a difference if they've already been elected on their primary, in the primary election. But since this hasn't happened, the constable did pass away before that. That's the process is that the parties can get together. Well, they have their committee vote and nominate somebody, and then those two candidates would go in the general election.
And that would be only to fill the unexpired term.
Correct. They would.
And
that person, if they wanted to run again, would have to run again in 2016.
If anybody else wanted to run, they couldn't run in November.
No, there has to be. The only process is the parties nominating a candidate for that general election in November. This November.
Okay.
Had the constable passed away, let's say in January of 2015, then we would fill till the next general election, which would be 2016.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, do I hear a motion to acknowledge that discussion?
So move.
By Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. The next item is the consideration for an appointment, discussion and possible action on the appointment of an individual to fill the position of Constable Precinct 3 until the next general election. I placed this on the agenda. The office needs to have somebody there to lead the day-to-day operations of that particular constable's office.
Judge, I know I visited with you, when this item came up, and we discussed the possibility. I had many opportunities to talk with our constable, Cavazos, who served for us there in that position for a number of years. And one of the things that we talked about was, what do you think we can do, because, at the end of Joe's days, he was very cognizant, very aware, and he was taking care of his department pretty much till right before he passed, And, one of the things that we discussed was the appointment of his son, who is a law enforcement officer, who is a peace officer, who is currently employed as a peace officer, Rolando, and I think he's here, to fulfill the term, whatever that term might be, whether it's between now and the general election, and continue in there if there are no nominations, or running for the position when it came up. I think that, you know, in the discussions that I've had in the family, knowing, you know, the trustworthy honesty issues that I feel I had with Joe, the constable, are the same with his son. And I would ask this court, since he is in precinct 3, that they would consider my recommendation to you all to approve.
Is that a motion, Commissioner?
It's a motion.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Benavides. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Congratulations,
here,
Constable.
you know.
Constable. Just work on your swearing in, and good.
I don't even know where to start.
Let me start by, you look just like your dad. You really do.
I just want to tell the court, the commissioners, and everybody else that I really appreciate the opportunity that you all have bestowed upon me. It's a great responsibility, not only for myself, the officers that I'm gonna have to represent the office, but I got some very big shoes to fill. And I'm gonna try my best to fill those shoes. I may not be able to duplicate them, but I'm gonna try my best to imitate them. And I really appreciate the opportunity, and I won't let you guys down.
Well, good luck. Whatever you need from our office or the commission, feel free to call. Well, now I can say it. I didn't want to say it before till you were approved, but I got numerous calls recommending you, and some even from some of your peers, people that you're going to work side by side with that are here in your support. So your dad set a template of good law enforcement. You got a good crew working with you and for you. Keep them as best you can. Do your own thing. Do your own thing, and you'll be fine. Thank you. You might want to introduce your mom that's here and your other family members that are here.
I got my Aunt Laura. I got my mom, Gracie. My aunt, Esperanza. Got my cousin over there, Arnold. I got my little sister over here, her husband, Gilbert and Joanne. And they're here backing me up.
All right.
And we'll do.
All right, get to work.
Thank you.
All right.
Well,
thank you.
I think that if you need a little bit of time, though, because I know that you currently are in another position, that I think that we need to work with you to make sure that the transition occurs in a way where, you know, your current employer works with you. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate y'all being here. And y'all can, you're free to depart now unless you want to stay and listen to us the rest of the time. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Commissioners. Item H, discussion and possible action regarding the future use of old BISD buildings and the designation of Cameron County departments for these improved buildings.
Judge, we wanted to get some direction from you. Last meeting, and we've been working on a list of projects, and on that list was the improvements to the BISD buildings, and so now we want to get that process going as to what it is that you all want to see out of those buildings, what departments can go in those buildings.
Let me ask you, do we need to know at this point what departments we want to relocate there before we even begin the reconstruction or the remodeling? Because there's certain things that we're going to have to do regardless of who's going to be there.
Right. It would be ideal because that way the architect, once we go through that process, can work with the end user as to who's going to go in that.
We have 3 buildings.
Yes, sir.
The one in the middle, I've heard different things. One that it's a historical site, one that it's not, one that is only part of it is historical, the other part may not be. Has anyone really looked at that particular building to determine whether we can utilize it or do we need to raise it and maybe just make parking?
Hondo's here, I think, and we have looked at that building. there is questions on whether it's historical or not. We need to go back to the historical commission to
We need
get
to
some-
figure out if there's any issue with the city,
And-
if it's unsalvageable, where it's just, you know, lead, asbestos, everything else that may be just really too expensive to try to mitigate, if we can just tear it down without any issues.
Yeah, it's
and
gonna
just
take a
making
huge investment
parking
to
lot.
upgrade that building.
Can you find out? I mean, you need to find that out about that building first, and then second, because if we can utilize that building, it's gonna give us more office space to maybe relocate some departments. If we're not gonna use it, then we're limited to the two buildings that are left over.
A couple of years ago, when it first came up verbally, I was told by Peter Goodman's office that the multi-story structure was historical and it would be considered as such if we tried to do anything in the way of raising it or something like that. But I never got anything in writing on that. And
We need to go
so
back to
I will
them and
ask-
get something in writing, and then we gotta figure out, just because they tell us that, what is it that we can and cannot do? Okay?
All right.
Now, you wanna talk about maybe some of the departments that we wanna maybe transfer? We've talked about a few, elections, veterans. I think that the Cameron County Historical Association would like something. I know that storing some of the archives over from the district clerk and county clerk's office, well, more specifically the district clerk, some of the items that they're restoring, they need a home. So we have a lot of need, but not a whole lot of space. Anyone talk about that?
I think the veterans had talked about the first building here, right directly across from us, which would be the one closest,
The old superintendent's office?
I guess.
Or
I
the
would
tax
obey.
office?
No, not the tax office, the other one.
Superintendent's office.
I know the veterans have asked before for more space. I don't know if he's here or not, Larry. And he certainly needs more than the small office he has, and he's shown an interest, and I think it'd be very beneficial for us to make a decision if we'd like to give it to him, so he can go in and help in the design phase that David's talking about, to make sure it's conducive to what your needs are gonna be, where you have actual rooms where you can have private conversations with people and issues. I know you talk about some very sensitive issues sometimes with the veterans, and so that would be my.
Well, that would take care of that one building. The other building, elections?
Well, what I was going to say, if we're not going to expand the courthouse like we had talked about because of cost, then reallocating the space on the administration side, where elections and the tax office are, might be wiser to move those offices.
Well, you can't move the tax office. I mean, that's just.
Well, not all
but
of it.
The elections could.
But maybe part of the tax office. I mean, I don't know if all their operations need to be there. Maybe we could get a portion of that, because that's still within the confines of the judicial building. And so if we need more courtrooms, those could be built there without the expensive expansion of
But
going
the tax
up.
office is on the other side, though. It's in the administration building. Not
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
not
mean-
the judicial side. They don't even connect, do they?
Yeah, you can connect
Well, I
them.
guess through the cafeteria? Or-
Right, because we need a library over there. I mean, we've been housing the library in Judge McDalia's media room for a
Well, why
long
don't we-
time.
Yeah, I think you're right, but why don't we do this? Why don't we just, I think we need to see if elections, if this building works for them, and once they do that, it frees up, 1,500 square feet or so, or 1,200 square feet.
Yeah, Chris has seen that building and he's looked at it, and he's indicated to us at least that it would work for him, but it's up to the decision.
Well, that may be the two that we can move over there, elections and veterans.
How many square feet are we talking about in these buildings?
I believe the one that stands alone at the corner, I think it was about 3,000 square feet.
Okay,
if I recall.
and how about the other building? I mean, let's look at it from a square footage point of view, okay? Because, again, I think that we need, we're always clamoring for space, and I support, the different departments having the needs met that they have, the Veterans Office, but I don't think we need to go from someone that has an office in 300 square feet and go to 3,000 square feet.
No, the other one is around 1,500 square feet, isn't it the smaller one?
It's about half.
It is smaller.
About 1,500 square feet, yeah.
1,500, 1,600 probably.
And how much square footage does the VA office take up right now? Do you have any idea?
It's tiny.
I don't have the specifics, but I can tell you it's pretty
I
small.
know.
It's a small space.
700, more or less? It's
Well,
kind of a hallway.
You know, aside from that, I mean, I know what you're saying, but if we can utilize that for the veterans, I mean, you'll need sometimes I know that you've had numerous people there, and you can't meet with them. You need like a small.
You can
maybe
barely walk
yeah,
in,
a
Judge.
conference room, maybe a little.
There's a lot of privacy issues there,
Yeah,
and you can
and-
overhear, so.
I think that one would be ideal for you. You might have a little space left over, but, you know, I think it'll accommodate some future growth, but that would be good. I think the other building is the one that may be more challenging in terms of how many departments we can put in there.
But I just want to make sure that we, you know, we go with a plan that, you know,
Yeah.
we can live with, and we provide all of the departments the space they need.
Well, that's gonna be tough
But
to
I think
give
he's right.
everybody.
He's correct, but it's
Yeah.
just hard to.
Yeah, it's
without
gonna be tough to
custom
do.
building
And we really need to get off center with it. We've been talking about this for a while now. We really need to get off center and decide what we're gonna do so we can get started on that.
I mean, the library issue over there is a real issue that we haven't dealt with.
Could we put the library, does the library have to be in that building? It does, right?
Right. Well, and this is the thing. The tax office has offices, if you walk in the administration building, on the left, and they've got offices on the right. So what I was thinking was, because of the drive-through, I know they need to keep that intact, but maybe we could, if elections is moving out, maybe shift them over
Right,
there.
right,
And then give that entire area to a library and probably another courtroom. I know we're gonna be needing another courtroom soon with the probate court that we anticipate coming. And,
We do?
you know, Judge Belton.
We anticipate it coming?
Well, isn't that why we put more money into giving them a staff?
Well, I don't know. We're not gonna get into it at that, but I thought that staff was gonna be, it's like a rotating to go to each court.
Well,
That's what that probate staff was for. Have they hired somebody already?
I don't know.
I don't either. Okay, well, that's another deal.
But basically,
I'm with you on that. I mean, I think that's a good
it's easier
plan.
to build courtrooms there because the structure's there than trying to build out, and it'd be a lot more expensive, right, Hondo? Building out the courthouse like we talked
Yeah,
about?
I'm with you on that, but
So-
I
so-
think, but we gotta get them out. I mean, we gotta get the elections set up and remodeled and get them out so we can really look at what space we have, and then get with the tax office, and then, okay, have them shift over and move over,
Right.
do what you wanna do. I agree with you.
Right.
No issue with that.
So,
But I think we need to move forward. I think we need to move.
is that enough direction, David?
Well, can we get approval at least for the Veterans Office today, and then
Move to approve.
look at the other building and start with elections, but then see who else, you know, is.
Okay, well, whoa, cowboy. First, we gotta figure out what we can do with that middle building.
Which we are.
Okay, number one, you're gonna do that. On the other one, what I call the old superintendent's building, that's where it was. I don't have any issue at all really moving veterans there, and then maybe working with you or whomever to design that interior to accommodate maybe a conference room, maybe even a little, like a lounge area, you know, stuff like that, and then some individual offices. Okay? I had a motion, y'all okay with that?
Yes.
Motion, a second? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries. Then you're gonna find out about the middle building, and then on the third building, need to get with the tax office and elections and kind of coordinate all that. Okay?
David, also the property, remember we talked about that half lot behind?
Yes,
I know Pete
Commissioner.
has said y'all sent some letters.
Yeah, we're on the tail end of that. I think hopefully we'll get done with securing that property in the next month or two. There's some signatures that need to get signed by some family members in New York, I believe, that our right-of-way department is working on, and as soon as we get that, we'll be able to secure that
That'll
piece.
square it off.
Yes.
Square off that lot. Good.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Item I, discussion and possible action regarding the creation of one or more county energy transportation reinvestment zones.
Judge, Commissioners, this is the order before you to create a county energy transportation zone. It was prepared by our counsel, hired for this purpose, Jim Allison. It creates one zone within an area of the county that has the least amount of parcels that we've identified. That way we can create what's called a minimal TERS and not affect the other revenue coming in from the county. And that is allowable under the statute.
Move to approve.
Second.
Just
Can
one
we-
more thing on that.
Can we add Commissioners Court as the advisory board? Just to make it.
I didn't get, I got an answer back from Mr. Allison saying that we could add each commissioner's staff members on that, and I know Commissioner Hernandez had an issue with that, but if, maybe we can add Chuck Hoskins or Humberto Barrera to that, and then each commissioner's assistant.
I don't have a problem, I mean, because we need to make it as. it's
And
gotta
Judge,
be-
I'm not sure if you're okay with Humberto.
I'm
or-
okay with Humberto or Chuck, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, you want to make that as part of your motion?
Yes.
So the advisory board would be Mike Vasquez, Raul Gomez, Pati Matamoros, Chuck Hoskins, and Humberto Barrera.
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right. That was a motion, a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Item J, discussion of possible action regarding the Senate Bill 1747, prioritized project list for the county transport. Yeah.
Judge, Commissioners, you have a list that was prepared by our engineering staff. It's got 2 projects for each precinct and an additional project for Precinct 4 and for Precinct 3 at their request. The amount that we're eligible for is over 200,000, but this list has an amount closer to 700,000. And the purpose for that is if we're eligible for future funds under this program, we can use these projects in there.
Right, because what'll happen is if not all the counties put together these zones and apply for funds, they'll redistribute the surpluses to the other counties.
Correct.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Sanchez. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Carries. Item K, discussion and consideration of accepting county road reports for filing in the minutes of the Commissioners Court.
Judge, Commissioners, I want to enter into the minutes the county road report and the road inventory that we have available currently that we submit every year to TxDOT.
Okay.
And give that to the.
Move to accept
Second.
Second.
by Commissioner Sanchez, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Item carries. Item L, consideration action to approve the final change order number Texas TX 11-148B-003, revised 3 on the Motorola P25 digital radio project. Chuck?
Judge, Commissioners, we come down to the very end of our radio project back in March of 2012. We were struck by lightning, had damage, extensive damage to our radio system. The court approved a lease purchase of a new system that would get us through the digital transition requirement from the FCC. All our equipment is installed, radio's been programmed and placed in the field, and this project is virtually complete. We have an excess of $23,106.37, which we're opting to use to buy some ancillary equipment to assist the county so we won't have to spend money later on. These items include a UPS for the Portisville radio tower that's failed, 2 radio control stations, UPS batteries for the Cameron County Emergency Operations Center dispatch console, 20 SWAT team headsets, 2 bank chargers for the Model 6000, 7000 portables, 20 spare radio antennas, 10 spare speaker mics, and 10 spare batteries. That will utilize the leftover funds and will complete this project.
Do we have lightning protection at all these towers now?
There is lightning protection, but that doesn't always help. You never know what's going to happen. The tower that was struck is actually not one of our radio antennas. It's the tower at the Sheriff's Department, 100-foot tower that had our backup system on it, but it traveled through the system and burned out the central electronics bank, which is the brains for the radio system. We're now connected to the regional radio system via T1 lines, and we're using their system to actually project. Instead of being on 2 radio towers, we're in essence on 9 radio towers. We can talk from La Jolla all the way back to our dispatchers here at Cameron County.
Mr. Hoskins, do we have insurance on all this equipment?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Did we collect?
We collected a portion, yes. We did apply for insurance for the damage. Wasn't 100%, but we did get some money back. That was when Tom Gozdowski was still here, and he handled that.
How about surge protection on all these?
Yes, sir. There is
It's all
surge
in there.
protection. Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Sanchez, seconded by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Item carries. Thank you, Chuck. Item M and N have been done. Item O, consideration possible renewal of agreement for damage assessment with the following companies: Brabba Kistner, S&B, and Amtech.
Judge,
Move to approve.
Judge and Commissioners, these are the contracts that have been in place, and every year they get renewed.
Moved by
to-
Commissioner Sanchez, second by
Second.
Commissioner Benavides. All in favor,
This is for a
signify.
year?
1 year.
1 year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item P, consideration and possible approval of the third amendment to the interlocal agreement between Texas A&M University for office space and its Texas Agriculture Extension Service.
You okay,
Standard.
Dilbert?
Yes, I'm okay with this.
Moved by
to
Commissioner
approve.
Gatsa, seconded
Second.
by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item Q, discussion and possible action on implementing a junior lifeguard program and lifeguard tower sponsorship program. I see him again. Hey, guy, what's going on?
Hi, good. So we have 3 programs that we presented last week: the Junior Guard program, the Tower Sponsorship program, and the webpage. This is bringing it up for your consideration. Do you guys have any questions or?
No, you did a good job last time. A little long, but it was good. I had to stay up
apologize.
really late to watch it. All right, do I hear a motion to approve, to implement?
So moved.
By Commissioner Benavides, second by
Second.
Commissioner Sanchez. Discussion.
Any cost associated with doing this?
The Junior Lifeguard program is 100% self-sustained. It's all.
To the county?
It's self-sustaining, yeah.
Yeah, no. Is
the
there any
county-
cost on any of what we're doing here?
Yes, the tower sponsorship has an initial investment of $960.
And then we get that back, though?
Yeah,
Okay.
we make a profit of $13,000. So.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right,
The,
thanks a lot.
Actually, I apologize. The web page does come out of our advertisement fund. It's like a $200
Yeah.
fee. Is that okay? Okay.
You're good. Thanks a lot. Good job. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any
Aye.
opposed, carries. Item R, consideration and authorization to hold a Cameron County auction of county vehicles and other equipment. Mike, what's the date of that?
The plan would be a week from today. And we have the DA's office and the Sheriff's Department requesting that we sell the forfeited vehicles, which is the first page attached. However, we'd like to hold off on all the other pages. We have several departments that would like some time to go back and view what's available, possibly transferred to their departments. That also includes the IT department that sees in here some equipment, computer equipment that they would like to have access to and transfer out.
When it deals with forfeiture, though, and that's the DA, can they transfer it to another
No,
department, or we have to somehow pay for
On the forfeited
it?
vehicles, on the second page, that would all be for auction,
Okay.
for DAs and sheriffs.
All right, okay. Everybody go with the date, the 21st?
Are you doing like a real auction or
It would
online?
be the online, and it would start right at a week from now.
You know, have we figured out what works best for us?
Yes, sir. We not only checked with various counties, but we've been looking
No,
at.
check with us.
But in addition, we've also checked our data as to what was done in the past, and our revenue has increased in auctions by about 45% by the
By
current
using
mechanism.
online?
Yes, because we have a lot more participation and a lot more access to the list of items.
And most of these are as is, right? So,
Exactly. What we also found, Commissioner, is instead of having to transfer things around from departments to San Benito, and then possible damage in transit, staff time in moving things, now all of that has been eliminated because the people actually pick these items up where they're located currently.
Anything else?
We just lose the ambience of the auction,
Exactly.
you know? Because people call and say, hey, you're not doing these. I think it was like it becomes like a market days or something, you know?
Right.
I mean,
And what we tell them is how they can actually go online to access the information and view the equipment and vehicles from their homes or.
and they just sign up and bid?
Exactly.
Online, anyone can.
And of course, it's similar to eBay. The prices just keep driving up as they compete against each other.
Sure. I like the no guarantee that it works on everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a motion? Moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item S, discussion and possible action regarding request from the Tip of Texas Family Outreach to be considered as one of the charities listed in the jury form for donations from the public. I think somebody's here. Martha, any issue by adding them? No? Do I hear
Move
motion?
to approve.
By Commissioner Sanchez, second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Martha, who gets with them? Do you contact the district clerk to add them to the juror? They would? Okay. All right, okay, so then you all just contact Ms. De La Garza or somebody on her staff and move forward with that. All right, okay. Sorry I made you wait. Bye-bye, thanks, Linda. Presentations for the highlight of the meeting. Presentation by the Community Loan Center of the Rio Grande Valley, services available to county employees. Mr. Mitchell? I'm good, how are you? True.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you for allowing us to present to you today. Just a little information. The average Texan, i.e. Cameron County resident, pays $840 for a $300 payday loan and $1,604 for a $700 auto title loan. So in other words, payday loans and auto title loans are really kind of sucking the life out of and the equity and the wealth from our community. The Community Loan Center, which is a program of the Rio Grande Valley Multibank and the Community Development Corporation of Brownsville, has decided to go at this instead of trying to legislate these things out of existence in our county or in our state. We've decided to actually put together a marketplace alternative. And so the Community Loan Center started 2 years ago, operating in Cameron County and the Rio Grande Valley, offering this service to folks in the county. The way that it works is that the CLC partners with employers, and the employer then offers this as a type of add-on to their employee benefits package. So if an employee so one of our employers that works with us now is Esco Marine. If the employee needs to borrow up to $1,000, they can either go online and make an application, or if they need to, they can come in, but really the whole thing's set up to be done online. Make an application, they can borrow $1,000. There's no credit check. They have to have a job for 3 months and have a bank account. We deposit the money into their bank account within 24 hours, and they repay us through payroll deduction from their employer. That's the only thing we ask of the employer. There's no cost to the employer at all, except for doing the payroll deduction is really that experience with us.
Yeah, kind of tell me a little bit how this. I know the concept, but who is the funding source of this?
The Rio Grande Valley Multibank.
Okay, and that's made up of whom?
That is made up of the Rio Grande Valley Multibank is a community development financial institution, which is a Treasury Department certification. The Multibank is owned by Bank of America, by Chase, by Wells, by IBC Brownsville, IBC McAllen, BBVA Compass, Frost, and Lone Star National Bank.
What kind of rates?
As opposed to a payday loan, which in the state of Texas averages 600%, this is like a starter credit card at 18%. It's a 12-month repayable loan, and you can pay off whenever you want.
And what if, let's say, one of our employees, you loan them the money, and then all of a sudden
they no
they
longer
leave?
work here?
Yeah.
Then it's up to us to collect that.
Okay, you would not hold the county liable?
The county is not at all responsible for that. We just ask that we have access to market the product if needed, obviously. Like the city of Brownsville doesn't use this product with us because they have their own product.
The city of Brownsville has what?
They have a credit union that they're able to utilize that. And so that's fine. That's our goal here is actually to have alternatives out there. And the more alternatives, the better.
What other agencies, local governments have you all signed up?
Right, so the Port of Brownsville, City of La Feria, the School District of La Feria, the Raymondville, Port Isabel, Los Fresnos.
You're talking the cities or the
cities,
schools?
The cities and in some cases the school districts.
Was this the one that was presented to the Brownsville School District sometime back?
Yeah, it was presented to the Brownsville School District sometime back, and it got caught up in other things that were there. It had nothing to do with us. This is not, I will say again, is not a payday loan. And that was
Is that what they were recommending?
That's what they were saying that we were, and it's not a payday
but
loan.
back when it, made some news, was this the one that was being marketed as a payday loan, but it's really this one?
Yeah, we didn't market it as a payday loan.
But somebody inferred
somebody
that?
on the school board said it's a payday loan, and it's not a payday loan.
Because this is a one-year loan.
It's a one-year loan, or you can pay it off whenever you want, but it's a one-year term loan.
Well, but it's, let's make sure. Once somebody, as I understood our conversation.
I've had lots of the lawyers make sure for me.
Yeah,
so.
There's nothing, I'm not talking about the legality of it. I'm
Right.
talking more of the practicality of it. If somebody borrows, they can borrow up to $1,000,
Correct.
okay? And they pay down to 500, then go back and borrow another 500.
Yeah, they can only come back and borrow more up to 1,000 after they've paid off half. We don't let them keep accessing it like that. It's only up to, if they pay off half, then we'll let them come back.
Yeah, so they pay down half, then they go out and borrow another 500, they pay down half, another 500. So basically, it's a rolling 500.
Line of credit.
It's like a credit card.
Correct.
It's like the credit card you all have in your pocket. And the problem is, for me, is that folks with resources can have a credit card. Folks who don't have resources aren't allowed to have a credit card. Thus, they're forced to go to predatory lenders. We're trying to make access to credit, which I think everybody in this room would say is not a bad thing, as long as it's not predatory. And that's what we're trying to give working low-income folks, access to credit. So, I mean, we've talked to folks who are actually using this money to, in one case, sending their kid to college, which we quickly moved them over to fill out the financial aid services. So that's, that goes to the fact that we also offer credit counseling and debt counseling with this as a free service, so folks can come in and do that with us as well.
Okay. So the only thing you want us to do is basically authorize, well, number one, get the message out to employees.
Right, and we'll do that.
And this is for any county employee,
Any
correct?
county employee.
And payroll deduction?
And it'd be payroll deduction. And the way the system now works is it's actually verbally, we send you the information back and forth. We have designed a brand new online application process, which is now under review with the OCCC, which is the Office of Consumer Credit Commission of Texas. It should be authorized in, I would say, about 3 months. At that fact, then it's all completely and 100% automated. So we send your HR department, here's the people who applied for a loan, these are their payroll. We'll do that now, we just do it through email. But here's who signed up this week, here's what their payment for their next payroll cycle is, and their next 12 payroll cycles, or whatever if you're paid monthly, or doesn't really matter. If you're paid weekly, we collect weekly. If you're paid every 2 weeks, we collect every 2 weeks.
When you go to these banks, I assume that someone's making money somewhere.
Well, we haven't made any money yet. It's been 2 years.
Well, but when you start an issue at 18%, I know it's a low rate compared to first-time credit card users, but when prime is at 2.5 or 3 or whatever it is today,
right?
18% sounds,
It's
typically
actually
high.
I mean, it's not actually the law allows us to go to 25%. And the presidents of these banks on our board have decided that to keep it as low as possible in order to make it sustainable, yet not usury or predatory. And that's how.
Well, and you forgot one other word: profitable.
Well, it hasn't profitable
for the banks.
yet.
18%.
No, these banks aren't making any money on this.
Well, but they're the shareholders.
They're shareholders, and they've never been paid a share in the 15 years that they've been owners of what these banks. The reason they're involved with.
So where's the money going? The profit.
It goes. Well, like I said, this product hasn't made any profit yet, but it goes to operate the program. So it just goes to pay salaries and staff and marketing, and marketing is a huge expense for us.
Yeah.
So basically, this program, what it does is because of the payroll deduction, it allows people who or otherwise may not be able to get these loans to get the loans?
Right, so we don't underwrite the individual, we underwrite the employer, right? So are you a stable employer? What's your turnover rate of employees, right? We have some who are, very high. We have some like the county, which is, relatively low. And so what we're doing is underwriting the employer, not the employee. The reason the banks, just to get back to the judge's question, the banks are involved in this is because of Community Reinvestment Act regulations for banks, right? So what the Rio Grande Valley Multibank has done has made it easier for these banks to get their CRA credit in areas of investment in low-income areas. So they also do our lending. We also do lending for mortgages. We have low-interest mortgages and for folks. And they've been doing that for 15 years in low-income neighborhoods throughout this area.
Dobia, excuse me, Dobia, is this any different than when we allow payroll deduction for insurance companies that want to come sell insurance to the employees?
This is the first time I've heard about this, but I'd like to know, talk a little bit more to understand, but the premise, it sounds similar. I don't have any more information.
I mean, I don't know how yours runs, but yes, it's the same way that, I pay my insurance company. It's the same.
Well, I'm talking about from our perspective as a court, we've had other companies, insurance companies, for example, come in and say, we want to provide insurance products to employees. We want to be able to do payroll deduction.
Right.
So they'll come in, they ask for approval the way you are asking now, and we've done that in the past. And so I'm just asking, would there be any difference, approving this, and I don't believe there's any obligation on the county.
There's a statute that controls what may be deducted, by automatic payroll deduction. And we would have to compare this plan to that statute, in very good order in order to make sure we know what we're doing. It's not to say it can't be done. It's right now, we don't know that it can be done. I don't remember any sort of automatic deduction for loans, okay? An arrangement for insurance, payment of insurance is a little different than just an out-and-out loan.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll have to take a look at that, okay?
Sure. Yeah, you have to do that. We've made sure that this process is.
Yeah, this is a presentation and not for action, but let me ask a question. What if a company that is a loan company like you have downtown, let's say one of these guys comes in and say, hey, we want to do this, we want to be able to do what you're doing at 15%, automatic payroll deduction, make it affordable, what would be the difference?
Nothing.
Exactly. So all of a sudden.
3%.
Yeah, aside from that. But then you.
If I can force those guys to go down to 15%, then I've done my job.
Okay.
I'm not in this to be making a whole lot of money. You're not going to believe me. If you saw my books, 18% is not cutting it.
Right.
Right? I'm in this to use the marketplace to force them to be the good guys. And so by getting employers the size of you all involved in this makes a statement, one. Number two, helps your employees, because I can guarantee you, stand out in front of one of the payday lenders in this county and watch how many county employees walk in the door. Because we've done it. Heck, I had employees doing it. And we're, now.
Are you employed by Community Loan Center?
I'm the administrator of the Rio Grande Valley Multibank and the executive director of the Community Development Corporation of Brownsville.
So this is like you work with this company?
Yes.
All right. Let me do this. Well, this is a presentation, we'll acknowledge it, and then we're going to send this over to legal, and the auditor needs to get involved, because when I read something that says no cost to you, to me that raises a flag, because there is a cost involved to us. Even if it may be nominal, it may be an administrative cost, but someone's going to have to do.
I'm not billing you. That's what that means.
No, it's not, but
Right.
we're actually expending
sure.
resources to do
no,
that.
You're expending resources talking to me right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
it says no
that's-
cost to you, but what we're doing here is a fixed cost. We're going to, whatever it is.
Sure.
But with them, it's not going to be a fixed cost, it's a
Right.
variable cost, because now they're going to have to add something else to their system.
Right.
And
It's like United Way.
yeah.
Sure. Right.
Okay. All right.
which is also a member of the Rio Grande Valley
United
Multi.
Way is not a lender, though.
United Way is an owner, is one of the, sits on the board of the Rio Grande Valley Multi-Bank.
No, but they're not a lender. United Way is
Oh,
an
no,
organization
I
that
understand that,
administers.
correct.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the action that you need to do payroll deduction.
Yeah, let us get through the legality of
Sure.
it, and then we will pursue it. I'll ask the auditor to get with legal and really find out what this is, find out if there is a cost. I know there is. What it is, I don't know, because we've had these things come up before for different things. Life insurance for employees, things of that nature. We've had to say, well, no, we really can't do that.
Right.
So let us do that, and then we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right?
Move
Okay,
to
Nick.
acknowledge reports.
Okay. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Moved by Commissioner Sanchez, second by Commissioner Hernandez to acknowledge. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item B, presentation of companies that their workforce is composed of 20% or more of veterans. Sal.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing us to do this. Up here, our Veterans Department is not only for benefits, it's also a resource center for all veterans. And a lot of times, I want to say about 50% of the times, veterans are looking for employment. And they have a very hard time. I mean, it's a hard time for everybody, but also for veterans. And so I have two gentlemen up here. I have Mr. Bart Nesensionov. Took me a while to learn the last name. Works with TWC, with the Texas Leadership Program that aids veterans from Afghanistan and Iraq wars that are coming back to find employment. And we have Mr. Omar Duque with the United Way, and he helps out with employment as well. And we have one other person that I work with directly, Mr. Edmundo Eturbe, couldn't be here with us today, but he's the Texas Veterans Commission. And we were analyzing what are the main concerns in our community of veterans. And one was, of course, mental health and just health, general health within the community of veterans. Second was employment. And we started to do initiatives to see if we can get veterans hired, get them back into the community, get them a job. And incredibly, not only when we get them benefits, but when we can help them out, lead them the right direction, and acquire employment, this empowers the veterans. They get more stability, financial stability, obviously, but not only that, they feel empowered that they can go back to the community despite any challenges when it comes to mental health or health reasons, and they can go back and actually support their family. So this is a great thing that the community is doing, and we're here today to bring an award to one of the companies out there that actually their workforce is composed of 20% or more of veterans. So this company, actually, Aetna Technical Services, Inc., and I want to say to the staff, thank you for standing by such a long time to give this award. It is based out of Anchorage, Alaska. It is an 8 Alpha disadvantaged company, Native American owned. And this company has been primary contractor for the Port Isabel Detention Center since 2008. I'm pretty sure you're well aware of that center up there in Bayview. And they employ about 569 employees as detention officers, supervisors, transportation officers, and food service. From that amount, 20% of their employees are veterans. So we kind of came up with the idea, and we approached some of you to see for your support, to give them a token of appreciation for everything they do for the veterans out here in our community. If you take a look, and we looked at the detention officers, their salary is about $41,000 a year. So they calculate about 115 employees. That means we get about $4,745,705 monetary injection into our economy here in Cameron County. So it's very important not only for veterans to get a job, but also for the economy here of Cameron County. So it's a win-win situation, and we just want to say that Mr. Davila and Mr. Sanchez, thank you for being here, and your staff, and we just want to show a token of appreciation for giving so much to our veterans who are coming back. I know some of you have sons or daughters that served in the military, and you know how hard it can be with the challenges that they come back from that combat field. And so it's very difficult. So what you're doing out there, you're empowering these veterans. You're giving them hope. You're giving them the future. So thank you so much. And, Mr. Barton Sensenov and Omar Duque, we're all working together to get them what they need to get them back on their track. And it's incredible what you see in these veterans. They come in with a whole wide array of issues and problems, and then all of a sudden you get them benefits, you give them employment, and 180 completely, 180. I mean, they just come back and it's completely changed. So without further ado, if I can have one of your gentlemen, Judge, if you want to present him. Come on up here. Come on, Judge. Mr. Davila? On your behalf, Mr. That's fine.
Only because I'm younger. The Aetna is presented to the Veteran Employer Award 2012-2013 in recognition of outstanding support to veterans of Cameron County. Presented by the Commissioner's Court, myself, Commissioner Benavides, Commissioner Hernandez, Commissioner Garza, Commissioner Sanchez, and of course Sal Castillo, our VSO. Congratulations.
All right, and since we're here, Bart, would you like to say a little bit of the award that you have?
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Bart Nacian-Sanao. I work for the Workforce Commission, and I'm also the commander for the South Texas Afghanistan Iraq Veterans Association. And just like Mr. Castillo said, Mr. Sanchez has been ideal to our employment endeavors. I mean, he's been helping a lot of our veterans by providing a lot of hope and sustainable and quality employment. And with this type of employer, our veterans don't have to leave the county to go work somewhere else. So this is like a prime employer for us. So without further ado, Mr. Sanchez, from the Rio Grande Valley chapter of Stava, recognition and appreciation for supporting our Rio Grande Valley veterans for hiring and training our heroes. Thank you, sir.
I just want to take a moment to say a few words for the company. I served in the military. All four of my sons served. My father served. I believe when a young man or woman joins the military, they're entering into a social contract with all of us. They're dedicating a portion of their lives. They're risking their health, their safety, and their welfare to protect our form of life, to protect our government. So what we give in return is if they get injured, we support them. If they get disabled, we support them. And one facet of that is that we provide opportunities for them to have a living wage and gainful employment and a productive life when they get out of the service. And our company is very proud to be very on the cutting edge, working with Bart and Omar and Sal on making sure we get these opportunities to our veterans. And we enjoy the opportunity to be able to do this, and we challenge other employers to work to provide valuable opportunities to our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, Judge. I appreciate
Sal,
the
thank
time.
you, and I want to again personally thank you for your outreach and what you do for our veterans. I don't know about you all, I'm sure you do, but I always hear a lot of positive things about our Veterans Office now and about you and your staff. So just keep up the good work, and you let them know on our behalf how much we do appreciate the efforts of the veterans, and don't forget their families as well.
Most definitely, and thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Without your support, of course, nothing of this would be possible.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge the presentation?
So moved.
By Commissioner Sanchez, second by Commissioner Benavides. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
By Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. To discuss the items as listed on the agenda pursuant to Code Section 551.087 and 551.0712, 551.0711A, 551.071A and B. That's it.
That's it.